It's Two on the Aisle with me, Charles Gross, and Leslie Hoban Blake. Tonight, reviews of Jekyll and Hyde, the Nance, the Assembled Parties, and the York Theater. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Two on the Aisle. Good evening. I am Charles Gross.
And I am the aforementioned Leslie Hoban Blake. Good evening.
Okay, well, we have a lot for you this evening, so we're going to get right to it. And instead of our normal 90-second wait period, which we time with our handy stopwatch, it's only going to be 1 minute.
Good luck.
So I'm going to talk about Jekyll and Hyde, the famous, or I should say infamous musical by Leslie Bricusse and Frank Wildhorn, which is being revived on Broadway. And it is, I don't think it's ever been popular with the theater community, but it does have a following, although not necessarily on Broadway. Certainly David Hasselhoff did very well with it. Now, I like this production a lot better than I like the original Broadway production, and I'll tell you why. Because it has Constantine Maroulis, excuse me, as Jekyll and Hyde. And unlike the last time I saw the show, he really strives to make a difference between the two characters. You know, when I first saw it originally, they had Jekyll, he would undo his ponytail and then he's Hyde. And there really wasn't much to it. But he has two very distinct characters, so even if he doesn't have a lot of makeup or resources when he does his changes, you really feel that there are two different people. The second thing I love about this is Deborah Cox as Lucy, a prostitute who attracts the attention of both Jekyll and Hyde, but for different reasons.
I want to go back to Constantine Maroulis for just a second.
Right.
You said that thing about the hair. Robert Cuccioli was the original Jekyll and had Jeckies. He had fans that were called Jeckies. And they lasted through David Hasselhoff, but Cuccioli created that. And he did that with the hair, but he had such vibrance and such an acting ability, which unfortunately for me, Maroulis does not have. He's a winner on one of those reality music shows. I don't even remember which one, because I don't watch them. But the point is that he's very slight. He looks as much like a doctor in any time frame as, I don't know, LL Cool J. I shouldn't say that because LL Cool J could play a doctor, but this guy can't. He's got this weird, long ponytail that's very curly. No one else on stage has long hair. If you're going to play a thing, put other people in long hair. So you know the hair is a character.
Well, that's I think it's a holdover from previous productions.
Well, whatever. Well, the guy has the hair anyway, because, look, I hated this production, so I can't say anything. I'm blinded by this feeling of...
I really did like this.
It stole 2 hours of my life.
I still do not think this is a great show, but we do have some scenes, so let's take a look at Jekyll and Hyde.
This is the moment.
anything that you excerpt can look good. You know, that's the problem. And Deborah Cox, I agree with you, was really good. I thought she acted and sang better than Maroulis. I did think that. But somebody wrote, and I wish I had coined this phrase myself, they said, Jekyll and Hyde, H-I-D-E, you know, and that was the headline on the review. So you can talk about anything about it you want to. I just liked it intensely, completely.
For me, it started off very strong. And then in the second act, when Jekyll is on his killing spree, then it started going downhill a bit. And the contraption that Jekyll uses to become Hyde, it looks like it's some sort of S&M type.
No.
I mean, originally he used to just take use a syringe.
Right.
I think Spencer Tracy would drink something.
Yeah.
And I admit it can be a little heavy-handed. And I don't think it's a great show, but this is a good production, I think.
I thought it looked like the bus and truck tour of the show because it was a light show the first time. I thought I was going to have a stroke the first time because of the lights, but they were very effective. And there were a lot of lightning flashes and green lights and red lights, you know, for the changes. And they don't have that intensity here. It's a couple of projections.
Again, I think the actors do provide the intensity. And if you are a fan of the show, I think you will enjoy this production. If you're not, and I know you're not,
it's
not going to change your mind. You liked it better the first time.
I didn't hate it.
You liked it better the first time.
Again, I didn't hate it the first time.
That's interesting. I really liked it much better this time, and I will give it 3 1/4 playbills.
I'm giving it -none. I will not give it any. I'm
Bad.
sorry. I had to stay. We don't leave shows.
No, we don't.
I had to stay. That's the best I can say about it.
All right. Well, let's move on to a show that I know you not only stayed for, but you couldn't have been dragged away from.
You're right. I love this show. It's called The Nance. It takes place in the late 1920s, early 1930s, and it's about. First of all, it's about burlesque, but at the same time as vaudeville. And my grandparents were in vaudeville, so I know this period very well, and I know about characters like this. And the Nance is in this particular case, it's an effeminate character like Franklin Pangborn in the movies. And it's played by Nathan Lane. It's played superbly by Nathan Lane. He has been nominated for both the Drama Desk
and the Drama Desk,
yes,
I think.
both the Tony and the Drama Desk
And I
Awards.
suspect he will win both of them.
Well, I hope
he's
so.
got a certainly
lot
good
of competition, but you know. But anyway, Nathan was born to play this role, and it's unfortunate. It's written by Richard Greenberg, whom no, it's not. It's written by Douglas Carter Bean. I'm jumping ahead of
who also
myself.
did the book for Cinderella.
Yes, right, exactly. And is one of those multi-talented playwrights who does, you know, theater and musicals. Sorry, I said the wrong person.
Straight plays and musicals.
Straight plays and, oh, we don't use the word straight with this show. And, thank you. Then we have to edit that out, but nonetheless. Anyway, what's so wonderful about this, as I said, is Nathan was born to play this role. Unfortunately, and the only negative thing I can say about it is that it does sort of tell the old-fashioned boys in the band, isn't it sad to be gay kind of story, as opposed to the contemporary stories, which are not sad. And he is a sad little man, and he's afraid to love, and he's afraid to be out, and he's afraid to let another man love him openly, and a beautiful young man who does love him because he's kind and clever.
I have to disagree with you about your boys in the band, or even contemporary plays, because so many of the contemporary, you know, gay plays dealt with AIDS, so they were pretty
I mean,
sad.
contemporary now. I'm not talking about. There are beautiful stories out there.
Well, now they're more integrated. It's less focused. But here you have Nathan Lane giving the performance of his lifetime.
Absolutely.
He's the over the top Nathan on stage with the character, and he's a more subtle, subdued Nathan. As you know, which you have seen before, I think most recently, say on The Good Wife, but even on stage, I think prior to when he did Guys and Dolls. And so you're getting the best of both worlds. And I have seen Nathan mail in performances, but he's not doing that here. Plus, he's back with 2 of his best co-stars or supporting actors, Louis J. Stadlin and Katie Huffman, who he's been on stage before. Jack O'Brien has directed it. This is Douglas Carter Bean's season, as far as I'm concerned, between this and Cinderella. Things do get a little presumptuous there. You know, basically, one of the problems he's having is that the Nance, the squeezes on burlesque, and Mayor LaGuardia did close down older burlesque. I think it had a little more to do with the strippers than it did with the effeminate characters. But here, that's kind of the emphasis.
You're absolutely right, but it was definitely part of it, and it's funny because Chauncey is based on, the character he plays is based on some real guys who but they played the Eltinge Theater, which was named for a man who was actually, he was a cross-dresser, which turned out to be, according to this play, the lowest level, which I don't necessarily agree with that. But I agree with you about Louis and Katie, and there's a trio that's every bit as good as Gypsies. You know, what is it? You got to have a gimmick.
You got to
girls.
have a gimmick girls.
The girls are the scene changes,
The strippers.
the strippers. Well, they also cover the scene changes, and they give the period feel with costumes and numbers. They're marvelous. Just it's a lovely evening.
Yes, and they're just the right age where you can tell they're certainly not young anymore, but they're not 100%. They're going over the hill, but they're not quite there. They're not quite there yet.
Katie is so close to over the hill, and she's so brave to play it that way. Because I mean, she was Una on
in the
Producers, you know,
Nathan Lane.
With Nathan Lane. But the point was, I mean, that there she was not that long ago, being, you know, the beautiful young thing.
Right, and well, she's still beautiful. She's just not quite as young. Also, there are a couple of very nice old vaudeville routines in there. Meet Me Round the Corner, which I saw in Sugar Babies years ago with Mickey Rooney. That's the Niagara Falls, as any Abbott and Costello fan will appreciate.
Also Sid Caesar.
And it all works. It holds up, and all you have a really wonderful play here.
Yeah.
And I will give it 4 playbills.
I would give it 4.5. I really had a good time.
All right. And what is next? I don't even.
Assembled parties.
Assembled parties. Oh, well. Now, I have to say I'm not a big Richard Greenberg fan.
Well, this season,
Well, this season, certainly Breakfast at Tiffany's did not do much to change it and put me in the minority, but I did not like Take Me Out. Maybe I just don't appreciate naked men in showers. What can I tell you?
I do.
Well, yes, and apparently so did the theater community, because that show won a Tony, and I still haven't figured out why.
And a Pulitzer Prize.
And
I
a
believe,
Pulitzer
yes.
Prize. All right. So the Pulitzer people like to see naked men in showers. Now there are no naked men in showers here, but here you have the play that has made me a fan of Richard Greenberg. This is The Assembled Parties. And the other thing that makes me a fan of this play is Jessica Hecht. She is the matriarch of a family that lives in this beautiful big apartment.
Where everybody gets lost.
On the Upper West Side, where everybody gets lost. And it takes place, I think, 2 Christmas dinners, even though the family is Jewish, about, 20 years apart. And we meet the family, which is Hecht, who is just so incredible as the mother. This is a kind of a follow-up to her Harvey last year, but it's such a totally different character that if I hadn't remembered the name, I wouldn't have believed it was the same person. You have Judith Light, who is playing Jewish so wonderfully. I mean, it's the best thing to happen to the Jewish people since Wonder Bread went kosher.
Oh boy, wow! Judith will love hearing that.
Yes,
but she takes this in the 2 different parts, the 2 acts. She takes it so beautifully. She becomes such an important character. You think of her as annoying at first, and then she's so rich and beautifully drawn and so beautifully played.
It is, and I'm at the point where I've stopped being surprised when she gives a wonderful performance.
We have seen
we've
marvelous
just seen her
things from
too
her.
many times.
Absolutely.
And we have some scenes from the show, so let's take a look at Assembled Parties.
What can I do? How can I help?
No, I can handle this. I'm fine. Oh, God.
What?
Oh, God.
What?
Julie?
Yes.
There's something you can do.
Anything.
Give me a pill.
Oh, I'm sorry. Damn it, I'm not depressed. I don't have anything. Don't you have a prescription?
How nutty I am these days. I left the bottle in Rosalind. You have to have something.
There might be a few Valium.
I'll take them.
They're from when I was pregnant.
With which?
Timmy.
Fine.
He's 4, Faye.
I'm no connoisseur. I won't notice if they're a little stale.
What if they've gone poisonous? I would hate for Christmas to turn into some pathetic Jackie Suzanne situation with you sprawled on the kitchen floor.
Do you want me to hate you the way everybody thinks I should?
I don't.
Then gimme.
Does everyone think you should hate me?
Yes.
Why?
Don't be disingenuous. Just pass me the Valium, please.
Wait till I get you some water at least.
Water isn't necessary. Water is a garnish.
It means I am in agreement. There are times I want to say amen to everybody, to the greengrocer and the doorman, and even Ben. So I would love it if we would say it now, because I feel it is very much the case here among us all, and then we can eat, all right? Count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Amen.
I don't know at this point. I just don't know anymore.
What is there to say?
It's like a what's the worst that could happen joke.
I agree.
He wasn't even a good actor. And he wasn't really handsome. He was B-movie handsome. Couldn't believe it when they made him governor of California. Those people don't care what they do. But this, leader of the free world.
Things turn around.
But in 4 years, the damage.
We'll organize it.
Who, you and me?
Sure.
Nonsense.
Of course it's nonsense. I meant it as nonsense.
And who's left to organize? The Jews? The Jews are all turncoats. Republican Jews. What is that? It's like skinny fat people. The kids? These kids, Scotty.
Scotty marched
Where does Scotty march?
at Princeton, divestment from South Africa.
Divestment at Princeton. 7 sophomores at lunch hour. Round and round they go. Please. Sometimes I think the war ending was the worst thing that could have happened.
Hey, bite your tongue.
No one feels imperiled on a bodily level anymore. I'm just grateful I'm apolitical.
Oh, Lynn Meadow directed this, and she's been nominated.
Right.
For a drama
Lynn
desk.
Meadow, the artistic director
yes.
of Manhattan.
Of Manhattan Theater Club. This is a
Yeah.
brilliant job for her. I'm so happy about that.
And I love the set that they
Yes.
put, how they change it from the first act to the second act. Even though it is my inclination to really hate anybody who has that type of apartment, real or fictional, but I love this family.
Gee, why would that be, Charlie? Why would you hate somebody who's got that? You got a lot of rooms.
I don't have 14
Yeah, I know.
rooms.
Nobody has 14
Who
rooms,
has
I know.
14 rooms on the Upper West Side of Manhattan?
Anymore.
On Central Park West.
Anymore.
Manhattan. But I do like the play, and I'm being a little generous, but I will also give this 4 playbills.
Well, again, and I'll beat you. I'll top you.
Really?
I'm acing your. I'm trumping your ace. It's definitely a 4.5, if not a 5. And it's just such a beautiful picture.
And even
of
though
the
someone
people
takes a
and the
shower,
time.
it's off stage.
No naked men.
No naked men, but a really wonderful play.
Yes.
And I'll take that any day.
Okay. I'm going to talk about something now that is not a review, but rather a preview. We were very fortunate that the York Theater, if you can get a close-up on this, I'm not sure, thank you. The York Theater invited us to the first preview of a show called I'm a Stranger Here Myself by a man of whom I've been a fan. That's a good sentence. Named Mark Nadler, who has been in cabaret since he came to New York. We talked about this last night, about 20 years ago. And we were able to interview Mark and the
His director?
director, David Schweizer. Please watch and enjoy as much as we did.
The Jewish songwriters were being imprisoned or exiled. The American Jewish songwriters were glorified. That's Dietz and Schwartz. Howard Dietz not only wrote these songs that were being sung around the world, Howard Dietz also was a publicist for MGM. Howard Dietz created this. He created that. Well, somebody had to have created it. It was Howard Dietz. Imagine how exciting it must have been, how pleasurable it must have been for Kurt Weill to write this next song with Howard Dietz in 1941. The song is called Schicklgruber. Ladies, you know what Schicklgruber is, right? Do you know? Do you know? You don't know? Schicklgruber was Adolf Hitler's real name. Yes, he was born Alois Schicklgruber. He made up this name, Adolf Hitler. Look, the guy was evil. He wasn't stupid. He knew that if people had to go around saying Heil Schicklgruber, things might have turned out very differently. In a snowy town we fade in on a simple village maiden with a belly getting bigger every day. So her family used her noodles, and they guessed it wasn't strudels that had made their lusty Liebchen get this way. So they asked her, who's the papa? And she told them quite a whopper, for she hated to reveal her mortal shame. But she yelled throughout her labors, and she woke up all the neighbors, so they all were there when out her secret came. Schicklgruber, Schicklgruber, you were born a child of shame. You have always been a bastard, even though you changed your name. Schicklgruber, 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 Heil to you. No one's purer than the Führer, though your papa was a Jew.
What attracted you to this material? It's obviously very personal to you.
Well, I talk about it in the show. I was initially attracted to this material because of the movie Cabaret. You know, when you are a young gay Jew in Waterloo, Iowa, and you get a glimpse of the world of the Weimar Republic, even if it is through the eyes of Bob Fosse, it just, my imagination was ignited, and I've been attracted to this material ever since.
Was not the verboten material that you saw there. That was Candor and Ebb. I mean, I'm talking about this stuff, the real stuff that you put into the show.
Well, the thing is, Leslie, I'm a person who loves to research things. So I started with the Candor and Ebb musical, and then I got curious. What were the real songs that they were doing at that time? You know, what were the real cabarets like at that time? What was Christopher Isherwood really writing about? And so the more I dug, the more I found, and the more I found, the more I wanted to dig.
Now, this started off as a cabaret act. How did you morph it into a theater show?
Well, to me, the line between cabaret and theater is the location, is where it's performed. I mean, when I do a cabaret show, it's always a piece of theater. That's what I do. But I don't have projections. I don't have a set. I don't have I usually direct my own shows. Here I have a director who had a vision, who could take it further. I always mix up farther and further. Far is distance. Fur is what you want to wear. And I don't either. But anyway, you do. But anyway, no, but it's
Not quite.
I don't even know what I was saying.
You were taking the show further.
Right, so the director can take it further because he has a vision, and he could see how it could become a theatrical piece.
Well, Mark had assembled this material and had actually performed an earlier version of it in certain spots. He did a kind of a special showcase performance at 54 Below. He was encouraged because of the level of complexity of the material to think that this evening of Weimar songs and perceptions about them and stuff could move more toward a theater piece. And so that's when I came in, because I've done a lot of new music theater and new opera, and worked with a lot of solo performers. He was encouraged because of the level of complexity of the material to think that this evening of Weimar songs and perceptions about them and stuff could move more toward a theater piece. And so that's when I came in, because I've done a lot of new music theater and new opera, and worked with a lot of solo performers. I loved the challenge. I mean, I loved Mark, and I loved the idea of moving it into a theater space and seeing what the difference was, what the new ramifications were with being on stage with people sitting in lines and not at tables with drinks, and having a different kind of concentration toward this performer. So this was the first preview, and it went really well, and I'm quite encouraged.
Was it hard for you to come in and alter his vision?
No, but it also wasn't my first barbecue. in this respect, you know, particularly. I mean, I've worked when I really like the performer. I enjoy working with performers on a solo piece because it's fascinating. It's like a one-person play. It's a whole new way of storytelling in the theater, and I've done it a lot before. And I'm very respectful of the fact that they really do own so much of this piece, and their investment is so deep. But you know, I have my ways.
Okay. We're not reviewing the play tonight.
But I did want to say that it's a review of songs
Right,
from the Weimar
Yes.
Republic,
Yes.
and that it goes from the people who, it's all about how free it was
Right.
during the Weimar.
And a lot of it is kind of reminiscent in a way of cabaret. It's like not sort of a mirror image, and in fact, Cabaret the musical
Right.
was the inspiration. And of course, he's been a cabaret singer.
Right, but he goes from cabaret with a C to cabaret
Right.
with a K, which is very political,
Right.
and takes it from the time of the Weimar Republic into the Nazi regime. So it goes
Yes.
from, you know, lightness and
Right.
freedom to
And there is a
darkness.
wonderful story. I'll just
We're
tell
not
you the
allowed to
bare.
tell.
Well,
No,
I
no,
can
we're
tell you
not
the bare
allowed to
bones
tell it at all. No.
involving a judge, a Jewish judge, who found homosexuality was illegal
Right.
and punishable, and that was enforced. And this man managed to help a gay baron out, and the story goes of their relation and what happened, and it is one of the best twists and endings.
Okay, but
that
it's a
I've ever
twist,
seen.
and we want to
is.
leave it
We
as a
won't- we will-
twist.
Yes, we will. We will.
But
But I really enjoyed
Do
it.
yourself a favor. It's a short run at the York. It's Mark's first foray into real theater as opposed to cabaret, and I honestly think it's going to be a very. I can see this being extended. So get there. It's
Right.
I'm a stranger here myself at the York Theater.
Right, so don't be a stranger to that.
Oh.
And when you go to the theater, look for Leslie and me, us too.
On the aisle.